I don't really like Overwatch, but my friends do like Overwatch, which means that unfortunately sometimes I have to play Overwatch. But something that I do like is Marvel. Look, I'm a pretty simple guy. You make a movie about a purple guy collecting magic rocks, I'ma go see that movie. You make a video game about some spider guys swinging through Manhattan, I'ma play that video game. You put a honey badger on some socks, I'ma put them socks on my octopus. This is Soctopus. He's a reference to a bygone era. Don't worry about him. Earlier last year, when my friends and I caught wind of Marvel making an online hero shooter, all of our interests were piqued. So when the game finally launched in December, none of us could play it yet. Seriously, Marvel, you released one of the most anticipated games of the year the weekend before finals? You freaking kidding me? Whatever, I pulled myself together, passed my classes, and then spent most of my waking hours the rest of December playing Marvel Rivals. And so far, I'm loving this game. Sure, I've got my gripes with the game that we'll get into later, but 95% of my experience playing this game has been a tremendous time. And not to mention, the game is free. So the game might not be completely free, but with 33 characters at launch and many more promised down the line, the game kicked off with an explosive start and doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. This brings us to the topic of today's video. Cold Kirky's official Marvel Rivals tier list. You know how at the end of all of the tier lists made by people who actually know what they're talking about, they always say something along the lines of, but the real S tiers are the characters that you enjoy playing, and the friends we made along the way. That's this video, that's what this is. How well do all of these characters stack up against each other on the arbitrary Cold Kirky awesometer? What characters do I think are the most fun to play and well designed? What characters do I think need to go back to the drawing board or back to the gates of hell from which they came? But first, I think it's only fair that I ask you to comment who your mains were in Marvel Rivals Season 0/early Season 1 by the time this video will likely be up. I'm about to share all of my opinions on all of the characters in the game, so yeah, it's only fair that I take the time to read through some of your guys' thoughts as well. And if you wouldn't mind while you're down there, I don't know, maybe you could... All set? Cool. But another hypothetical comment might read something like, what gives this Cold Kirky guy the authority to tell us the goods, the bads, and the uglies of Marvel Rivals? He's no top player. The only thing he's a top player at is like 3 time trial stages from Sonic Mania on the Nintendo Switch. Dork! Yeah. But in the first month of Marvel Rivals, I put in 90 hours of playtime and made sure to play at least 2 full games with every character to give them a fair shot. I reached Gold 3 before roughly 90% of my competition, and then didn't touch Ranked again, because solo queue Ranked this early on in a game with this wide a variance in player skill sounds miserable. Look, I just wanted the cool Moon Knight skin. And lastly, and most impressively, I platinumed the game on PlayStation. In fact, I've gotten all of the in-game achievements, except for the ones that require you to have friends. Yeah. My friends play competitive on PC without me. Okay, well, that last bit of credibility is technically a lie because I don't have all of the achievements nor the Platinum Trophy. But I should! For whatever reason, my Victory and Bloom Trophy for Mantis won't pop, even though I've gotten an ace as her a handful of times. I asked support about this, and their answer was literally, our bad, the game is bugged, it'll be patched in Season 1. So thank you, Marvel Rivals, for making me look like an uncredible doofus in my video on the internet. That's my job. Honestly, I'm just making this video because I have spent too much time playing Marvel Rivals, and it has sunk its teeth into my productivity. And I'm really hoping that this discussion will help get it out of my system some. So, without any further ado, this is Cold Kirky's official Marvel Rivals tier list. Okay, look. I don't play a lot of shooters, and as such, my aim is not so good. You want to know a game I do like to play? Sonic 3 and Knuckles, because it has lock-on technology. But with these range-focused, kind of snipery characters, I feel like I'm just playing base Sonic 3. It's not bad, but something's missing. And what's missing is an interesting way to engage with opponents. Even if I could aim, I just don't like the fundamentals of how these characters play. All you Hellas and Hawkeyes can hang out in the backlines and get headshots all you want. It doesn't matter, because I think that playstyle is lame as fuck. Black Widow literally turns you into a first-person shooter in a third-person game, and that just ain't for me, dog. Her achievement for getting 3 headshot kills might be simple for most competent players, but do you remember the title of this section? I suffered with her for 10 games before suddenly turning into a sniping god on the 11th, and that is the last time I will ever play Widow. Hawkeye can one-shot an enemy from across the map, and that is really dumb. Even for a player who only hits 30% of their shots, like yours truly, Hawkeye is still going to be getting more kills than most on the field. The Punisher is close to being enjoyable to me thanks to his shotgun mode. I just don't think the ziplines are what I'm looking for in a traversal option. Namor has a strong core projectile, and the octopus turrets are kinda wacky. He's actually my current highest kill streak with 25, but overall, the character's still lame. And lastly, there's Hela, who has a strong case for being the most OP duelist in the game. Aside from Black Widow, all of the characters in this tier are widely considered to be very strong. In general, projectile attacks deal so much more damage than melee ones, which feels weird in a game about badass Marvel superheroes. I think the reasoning behind it is that a coordinated ambush with multiple melee characters can be extremely oppressive, but at the same time, why would you do that when Hela can take away half your health bar by looking at you funny? I'll say it again, that's lame. Vanguards on paper just aren't really for me. The Hulk is a clear example of what I dislike about this character archetype. He feels sluggish, and if you don't have the proper team comp to let him thrive, the Hulk feels super weak and vulnerable. If I were to redesign the Hulk, I would honestly cut out the middle evolution entirely, and fully lean into the two extremes of the Bruce and Hulk dynamic. You would start the game as Bruce Banner, who would still be the weakest character in the game, but give him a couple extra tools so that he isn't completely helpless. Then once Bruce gets his ultimate, you unleash an even more powerful version of the Hulk. I'm talking completely invincible and 300 damage if he makes contact with an enemy. After 15 to 20 seconds, you'll transform back into Bruce and repeat the cycle. Yeah, this would be very strong and completely change how the game is played for the duration of the Hulk's ultimate, but counterpoint, it's the goddamn Incredible Hulk. He should feel impactful, like you just unleashed a monster onto the battlefield, not like I could solo him as Black Widow with a gun. TLDR, Hulk don't feel good. Penny Parker being a bulky trap setter is just so odd to me. It's not a playstyle I enjoy, and usually when I play Penny, I just mash the gun and bomb buttons. The bungee web is also weird. If she swung like Venom and Peter, I would be much more open to trying her more often. Speaking of which, Venom is the character that I have put the most time into, compared to how bad I still am with him. I really want to like Venom, but I just cannot play him, man. Like, I see people doing sick dive plays as Venom, and I try to replicate them, and immediately die. And a single swing on an 8-second timer, that's bogus. At least give me 2 so I can attempt to escape after my failed dives. Honestly, the only time I'm busting out any of these super heavies is if my team desperately needs them, like for the Hulk's Gamma team-ups or playing as Penny to absolutely dominate point in quick play. But never Venom. I genuinely suck as him. Sorry, Peter, no team-up for you. Okay, this is my biggest tier by far. Most of the heroes in this portion are characters that I am capable of playing and have an okay time with, but their kits are lacking something that makes them one of my favorites. You remember how at the start of the video I mentioned how I played at least 2 games with each character to give them all a fair shot? Storm is the only character that I played exactly twice. Because of this, she actually has my highest win rate out of any of my characters at 100%, and it is very likely that it will remain this way because I don't really want to play Storm. It seems like Storm's role is to be a living area of effect beacon. Her abilities make her feel like a strategist, but because she's a duelist, she lacks the healing abilities that make the supports in this game so strong. I don't really understand the point of Captain America. He barely escaped the Vanguards tier, mainly because he has a run button, but aside from running around and not dying, what does he do? He barely deals any damage, and his abilities take way too long to recharge for how weak they are. My best results with Cap were in convoy defense games where, again, he just doesn't die, but can't get any kills himself. Oh, and don't even get me started on how unfathomably annoying his silver achievement was to get. Okay, things get a lot better from here. Iron Fist and Wolverine. These two are hilarious. Getting up close and going apeshit on people is awesome. I don't know why they gave Iron Fist Jigglypuff air mobility, but I'm not complaining. And when I play Wolverine, I turn into Hugh Jackman in the booth, going absolutely feral. Wolverine is actually one of my most played characters, and I genuinely think that he has made me a better player. Having to creep around the map in order to find unorthodox ways to ambush your enemies is pretty satisfying. But this does lead to the big downside of these two characters. The lack of any kind of projectile in a game where ranged attacks and heals are so strong is a pretty significant detriment. And also, Wolverine is one of my most played characters because similar to Cap, his achievement was an absolute nightmare, and this has left me pretty jaded towards the Canadian manlet. I don't really have anything against Doctor Strange, there just happens to be another very similar Vanguard that I prefer. I'll talk a bit more about Doctor Strange when we get there, but for now, I think the portals are pretty goofy. Adam Warlock, Loki, and Rocket Raccoon are the first strategists on my list. Similar to Doctor Strange, there are just other characters that I like more, and when those options are both easier to play and better, can you really blame me? But honestly, I feel capable with all of the strategists, and I'd say that they're my favorite class overall. Usually, the only time I go for Adam Warlock is to activate the Revive Cocoon ability for Mantis and Star-Lord. That just seems very strong. Loki with his cloning mechanic is one of the most unique characters in the game. It's pretty funny pretending to be a clone and just be ignored by people. I also love how sassy and gay they made him.
I am wily, unreliable, vindictive, and yet oddly compelling, don't you think?
Rocket really is the most healing healer of all of the healers. If you ever take your finger off the heal button, you're playing this character wrong. There was one game where our team comp was all tanks and then me as Rocket, and yeah, we won that game, and it was hilarious. You know what? Bullying children is fun, and you can quote me on that. And no other character is better at bullying children than Iron Man. Flying around and blasting shit is so cool. It's just a shame the fun has to come to an end the second literally anybody on the enemy team knows how to aim. Squirrel Girl, Moon Knight, Magic, Black Panther, and Psylocke are all so close to being mainstays for me. Squirrel Girl and Moon Knight, in the wrong hands, could be contenders for the lamos category at the bottom of this list, but when I play them, they're cool. Squirrel Girl lobbing explosive acorns is at least conceptually and mechanically more interesting than Hella's point-and-click adventure. I've had fun with Squirrel Girl. I think the bounce is what does it for me. And then Moon Knight with his onks and bouncing projectiles is just the type of goofy shit I'm looking for. It really is giving random bullshit go, and I love that. I wish these two had some kind of designated melee special though. Both Magic and Black Panther are great close combat characters with access to a strong projectile, and then Psylocke is a capable all-around fighter. These three have dashes and other movement options that allow them to get in close and finish off enemies. This playstyle is right up my alley, but unfortunately, Magic's main attack is painfully slow, And if I'm being real, I don't think I'm good enough at the game yet to play Black Panther and Psylocke. Like, I can get results with these two if I'm with a competent team, but when things aren't going well, having me play these characters that I'm just kind of okay with is also part of the problem. Maybe it's a console diff, I don't know. Look, sometimes you get home from the 9 to 5 and need to unwind with some good old-fashioned brain-off gaming. These are the characters that I can do that with. As I said earlier, Vanguards aren't really for me, but sometimes you gotta suck it up and do your civic duty. Groot, Magneto, and to a lesser extent Doctor Strange are some of the Vanguards I can tolerate because they are simple. You just hang out in the mid to front lines, shoot your shots, and put up your walls when things get scary. Easy peasy. I think most people agree that Doctor Strange is the better choice between him and Magneto, but I prefer the mutant for a few reasons. 1, his main attack is a bit faster. 2, I like being able to bubble melee allies and allow them to go crazy stupid for a few seconds. And 3, I love how sassy and gay they made him.
Your savage side is showing, Logan. How delightful. Hello there.
And then Groot. What's not to love about this guy? We all know his iconic catchphrase.
Be afraid of the bird!
The Scarlet Witch is certainly one of the weaker duelists in the game, but I don't really care. We got lock-on technology, baby. I'm simply happy to kinda be looking at an enemy and to kinda be doing damage. Also, she has chaos control. Oh, and Groot can crank 90s. Seriously, this game is comedy gold. Isn't it funny how literally a month ago, everybody loved Jeff the adorable comic shark? And then the moment this game released, he became public enemy #1. I still love Jeff though. He's just a goofy little goober, and the closest thing we have to my favorite shooter, Splatoon, in this godforsaken game. Truthfully, Jeff is the first character that I fully understood in Marvel Rivals, which is a testament to just how simple this guy is. He has 4 modes. 1, the team needs healing, so I'ma spray my splatter shot. 2, the team is all healed up, time to whip out the blaster. 3, uh-oh, I'm being attacked, time to enter swim form and get out of here. And 4, oh hot dog, my ult is charged. Time to do the funniest shit in the world. Jeff the Land Shark is literally Splatoon if it healed, and his ultimate is the Kirby sucking cuck. He's my favorite little goober. Uh-oh, the girls are girling. If you guys are having trouble finding a job right now, just let your potential employer know that you are a good healer in Marvel Overwatch. You are loyal, you are attentive, you are a true team player. I honestly don't understand why so many people bitch and moan when they have to play a strategist. These ladies are busted. Aw, boo-hoo, your 2-shot kill with Hela is now a 3-shot kill with Mantis. Grow up and do something that actually matters for your team. I feel most impactful in a match when I'm playing a Luna, Mantis, or Cloak and Dagger. Healing is mandatory all the time in this game, and these 3 do it best, especially thanks to their ultimates, while also being able to help out on the offensive when they need to. There are a few remaining characters that I have more fun playing when I'm able to, but whenever it's time to lock in and get results, I go with one of the strategist girlies. I enjoy having to manage so many things at once to keep everybody in the fight, and because you're the team's lifeline, you are always involved in the action. It reminds me of Pikmin. I like playing Luna Snow because if you hit something that's moving, you are helping. I enjoy Cloak and Dagger even more because Dagger is the same, but with that sweet, sweet lock-on technology. Also, they're a stance change character, and Pokemon Trainer is my undisputed Smash main. If the auto-aim already wasn't enough to draw me to Cloak and Dagger, being able to switch between a homing attack healer and a status-inflicting duelist is what sealed the deal. And then Mantis is the character I have the best win rate with out of all of the characters that I play regularly. I love how fast she and Luna are, and Mantis's heal and inspire boost are kind of like lock-on technology. Now these are my boys right here. I briefly considered putting the healer ladies above the punch guys, but after a few seconds of thought, there was no way I could have possibly done that. Luna and Mantis have some pretty cheesy stuff that I dislike going up against. Primarily, their stuns, which feel like they last for an eternity, and their ultimates, which oh well, time to put the controller down for 12 seconds. Then 2, even if I am better with the supports, I don't always want to clock in as the medic. I want to kick some ass! Thor, Star-Lord, and the Winter Soldier are some of my favorite characters in Marvel Rivals. My ideal playstyle involves closing the gap between me and my opponents and doing some scrapping, and these 3 have the tools that let me do that. Bucky has the weakest movement of the 3, but his main fire is one of my favorites in the game. And if the blaster wasn't enough, they decked him out with a Hadouken, a get over here, and a big punch. Bucky is a certified cool guy. Oh, and going on a rampage with his agains is possibly the most hype thing. Yeah, period. At first I wasn't too sure about Thor. I originally thought that the synced 2-second cooldown on all of his specials was going to get annoying, but while playing, it was rarely an issue. I still think the combo potential of an uncapped Thor whose only limit is managing his Thor Force and Lightning Realms would go absolutely insane, but as is, yeah, Thor's still sick. When I tried out all of the Vanguards, most of them lacked that oomph I'm looking for. Then I got to Thor, and I don't know what they fed this guy, but Thor hits like a truck. Oh, just you wait until I get over there and enter my Super Saiyan form. That back line is cooked. And getting over there is so easy, with his hammer flight being surprisingly versatile. And lastly, Star-Lord. Look, I don't make the rules, but giving a character 2 guns and a dodge is objectively cool. Let me tell you about my Star-Lord. My man's got the flips and the dips. My man is rapid firing and awe-inspiring. My man is flying in and dying. But I still feel cool doing it. His blaster barrage, which deals damage to everybody in his radius, really helps with the whole not being able to aim thing. And then Star-Lord's ultimate, oh, it might just bring a tear to my eye. This here is lock-on technology that would make the Sega Genesis proud. I would say that the majority of the characters in Marvel Rivals are well designed, but if NetEase Games came up to me and asked which characters I think make for the most fun, fast-paced, and exciting gameplay experience, I'd go with these 3. Bucky the Brawler, Thor the Bruiser, and Star-Lord the Scrapper. And that was every character, right? Surely there isn't a single other character who completely eclipses everybody else in the video game. Oh my god. I love Spider-Man and Marvel Rivals. Why? Well, even with the characters that I really like playing, there's still a bit of a caveat. This here is Star-Lord, but if he was designed to be playable in Overwatch. And this is Thor, but if he too were playable in Overwatch. I believe that Marvel Rivals is better than Overwatch in almost every regard. Between the presentation and loads of character interactions, both in dialogue and in combat, Marvel Rivals has been a blast to unravel. Is the game actually better, or am I a victim of Marvel marketing? Probably both. But Marvel Rivals unfortunately adopted a lot of Overwatch-isms that I'm not a huge fan of. Lengthy cooldowns on things that should be basic movement options. Unbalanced matchmaking that makes it so that 80% of the games I've played have been completely one-sided. Being headshot by some no-lifer because ranged attacks are too strong for my liking. Having to go on a 40-second long hot girl walk every time I die. When I'm losing a quick play match and one of my toxic teammates goes out of their way to call me a slur in chat. That's not my idea of a fun time. Now, the things I've listed aren't necessarily elements of a poorly designed game, except for the slurs thing. Seriously, why does this game bring out the worst in people? Me complaining about these things is more so a sign that online shooters aren't my cup of tea most of the time, as the tropes common in them are almost never found in some of my favorite games. At the end of the day, with all of these other characters, I'm still playing Overwatch with a Marvel glaze. But with Spider-Man, that's just freaking Spider-Man, dude. While all of my friends get to play their online hero shooter, I'm playing a completely different game. Spidey has the best mobility in the game, and it is not even close. I love Spider-Man's momentum manipulation. Seriously, what other character in the game has speedrun tech? Nothing in this game is cooler than zipping in, doing a quick burst of damage, and then BLJing out of there. And if I happen to die in the process, oh sick, I'm already back. Spidey is a squishy, little, speedy, annoying assist assassin who has to perform a whole-ass Street Fighter combo if he wants to get anything done, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. That's badass! And he's voiced by Yuri? That's my favorite Spider-Man! And that was my Season 0 / very early Season 1 Marvel Rivals tier list. I kinda think it would be fun to do a retrospective like this at the end of every season. There's so much content out there on the competitive side of things, but I feel like it's also important to get casual perspectives on the game as well. You know, how fun the new characters, maps, and modes are. Oh, and I know I didn't really talk about maps and modes in this video, but in general, the maps are good. I just wish there were more of them. Oh, hey, look at that. And then the Conquest mode is kind of dumb. And then the Jeff Splatoon game mode is cute, but Splatoon doesn't work without gyro controls, so no thanks. Anywho, in the meantime, future Kirky, what are your thoughts on the Fantastic Four? Okay, so actually Fantastic 2, but whatever, that's more to talk about in the future. Mr. Fantastic is weird. I think the stretchy punches and big man mode are pretty funny, but Mr. Fantastic is one of the rare characters in Marvel Rivals that feels mediocre? I thought this might have just been a me thing, or that I was once again getting console diffed, but it seems like Mr. Fantastic is commonly considered not very good. And then the Invisible Woman with a little bit more time could be right up there with my other Strategist girlies. Her main fire being a boomerang heal / damage orb that phases through allies and enemies is right up my alley. And thank you, Sue Storm, for being the perfect segue into the tier list that actually matters. I will not elaborate any further other than saying, oh my god, they know what they're doing. Oh, look what finally decided to show up. My well-deserved platinum trophy. So, if anybody disagrees with any of my takes in this video, it doesn't matter. I've got platinum, and that means I'm better than you.